Good evening, John.
Good evening indeed.
My body's changing.
Well,
that's a different conversation that we should probably have off air.
I would hope that
air.
would have happened already, considering you have your full fucking Abe Lincoln beard now.
Whatever, Dan.
Just now everyone's gonna imagine William as like young Abe Lincoln, like young Lincoln.
Did you know that he was a vampire hunter in the Civil War?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, that's canon.
Yeah,
that came out.
That's canon. That's history.
That's canon in history.
That's like life canon.
No, what's funny is that there was another Lincoln movie that came out, which was more like a real life Lincoln movie.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, the Day-Lewis.
Which they made specifically because
way less entertaining than Vampire Hunter, though.
Probably more real.
Shut up! It was not. You're just bullshitting.
I'm sorry.
I gotta free the. He's got to free the slaves and kill those vampires.
Movie, did a fucking guy pick up a horse and throw it at Abe Lincoln? I think not.
Yeah, in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, did anyone act?
Yes.
I think not.
Yes, they did.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Movie Podcast, the podcast where we talk about movies.
Abe Lincoln.
The Lincoln movies. How you doing, Dylan?
We only exclusively talk about Abe Lincoln.
Dylan, how are you doing? Say something.
I feel fine, thank you.
He feels pretty. So pretty.
The audience gets to hear from you every 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, and you're like, I'm fine.
I have to say,
I'm a little gassy, you know.
I feel fine. I'm very quaint.
He had his hemorrhoids checked, and it's all clear, people. No need to worry.
Thank
Oh,
God.
you know what we didn't mention? We went to Ren Fair and we had an excellent time. Me and Del. It was a good time.
What was it like at Ren Fair?
It was kind of hot that day, but I did have my sweet wizard staff that we made mention of earlier.
I mean, me and Dylan did laugh at some of your text messages you sent to Dylan saying that you couldn't hang out because you were shaving your wizard staff.
Yeah.
Which could mean a whole bunch of things.
Sanding his wizard staff.
So I was in
you were probably doing it in the morning, maybe a little at night,
mostly
maybe a little
at night.
with the door locked.
When I got home,
so that no one would interrupt you as you were shaving your wizard staff.
Yeah. So
what did you dress? Wait, hold on, Dylan. What did you dress up as?
He didn't dress up as anything. Nate dressed up as an assassin, and I dressed up as a.
Oh, so Nate dressed up as an assassin. He's not here, by the way.
Oh, Nate got chased by a group of people there because they thought he was Will Scarlet from Robin.
Oh yeah, because Will Scarlet's there.
No, they chased him because they're like, "Oh my God, are you from Suburban Zombie?"
He had a hood on.
Fuck you, Nate.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
But yeah, we had a good time, man. And we it
Shakespeare was killing people with fluffy kittens.
Oh
what?
yeah.
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 There's
a guy dressed up like Shakespeare and he was telling the story of Macbeth, but instead of like stabbing, like he brought audience members up, and instead of like stabbing them with fake daggers, he just threw kittens at them. He's like, "You're dead! Die!" It was really funny.
How
Awesome.
they love
And,
how they love to death.
And then the all-female sword fighting show.
Vixen on Guard.
Vixens on Guard were fucking awesome.
Name drop in there.
I love them to death. Every year their show is great.
They have Vixen on Vixen action.
So this totally isn't filler because we have a short story today.
No, but yeah,
we
had a good time, and then it rained at the end of the day, right before the joust and like the big fight scene, which made it even more epic. So that was pretty awesome.
So this is this story today is me trying to make up.
Basically, and Renaissance Deadpool.
Oh yeah,
and they
acknowledged Renaissance Fair Deadpool.
So what's happening right now?
They said, "Sir Deadpool," and he's like, "Woo!"
Somebody was dressed up as a medieval version of Deadpool.
Apologies to your ears, everyone.
Oh man, that's a big blob on the screen. You see that?
Yep, that's
So
insane.
anyway, John, what were you saying about the story?
It's a circus.
So basically, on the last episode, we read Strangled Red.
Yeah, we did.
And that happened. It had to happen.
Pokemon.
It's like it's like raising children. There's bad times, but then eventually you gotta buy him some ice cream after you discipline him.
Oh, I could go.
I don't know why. I don't know. That was weird. Never mind.
That was an uncomfortable metaphor.
Everybody at home got a weird insight into child's
I want to discipline you all.
John's fractured childhood.
You got the smack.
All right.
My God.
Okay, so we're gonna read a much shorter story this time, and one that's more in the real world, called Autopilot.
Oh, that's actually perfect because that's what I'll be doing during this podcast.
Oh.
Zing!
He's got jokes.
Sick joke, Dan.
He's sick jokes.
Dan
5 minutes in,
it.
everybody, and you haven't read this story yet. What are we thinking about Autopilot? Is it going to be about airplanes?
You
Yeah.
can't, you
I'm
know,
kidding.
you do these sections, and we don't know what
We
it's
really
about.
don't know.
It's a title.
I'm gonna put
So
myself
let's read
on
it.
autopilot.
Let's find out.
Let's read it.
Ba-ba-da.
Let's do it.
Do, 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 do.
I don't.
I don't want to do it.
What? Then get the fuck out.
I'm sorry, you went with your arm, swung it up to your face, went, let's do it!
You really did. It was great.
All right. So this is.
What?
Just someone start reading, please. Dear
Will,
God.
why don't you kick
Okay.
off this
It
time?
actually hit me right like in the chest.
Have-
Like, I have a pain in my chest after that.
No, shh, we're moving past it.
Okay.
Have you ever forgotten your phone? When did you realize you'd forgotten it? I'm guessing you didn't just smack your forehead and exclaim, damn, apropos of nothing. The realization probably didn't dawn on you spontaneously. More likely, you reached for your phone, pawing open your pocket or handbag, and were momentarily confused by it not being there. Then you did a mental recap of the morning events. Shit. In my case, my phone's alarm woke me up as normal, but I realized the battery was lower than I expected. It was a new phone, and it had this annoying habit of leaving applications running that drained the battery overnight, so just close them. So I put it on to charge while I showered instead of into my bag like normal. It was a momentary slip from the routine, but that was all it took. Once in the shower, my brain got back into the routine it follows every morning, and that was it. Forgotten.
This wasn't just me being clumsy, as I later researched. Okay, this is a recognized brain function. Excuse me. Your brain doesn't work just on one level, it works on many. No shit. Like when you're walking somewhere, you think about your destination and avoiding hazards, but you don't need to think about keeping your legs moving properly. John.
What? Just read
This-
it.
Keep it
If
going.
you did, the entire world would turn to one massive, hilarious quap cosplay.
That's a deep cut.
Every sentence I read, I'm getting more groany. I wasn't thinking about, it might just because I'm tired. I wasn't thinking about regulating my breathing. I wasn't thinking about whether I should grab a coffee on the drive to work. I did. I wasn't thinking about moving my breakfast through my intestines. Wasn't thinking about playing Pokemon Go. Wasn't thinking. I was wondering whether I'd finish on time to pick up my daughter Emily from the nursery after work, or get stuck with another late fee. This is the thing. There's a level of your brain that just deals with routine, so that the rest of the brain can think about other things. Think about it. Think about your last commute. What did you exactly remember? Probably little, if anything. Most common journeys blur into one, and recalling any one is particular is scientifically proven to be difficult. Do something often enough and it becomes routine. Keep doing it and it stops being processed by the thinking bit of your brain and gets regulated to the part of your brain dedicated to dealing with routine. Your brain keeps doing it without you thinking about it. Soon you think about your route to work as much as you do keeping your legs moving when you walk. This is fucking like... This is getting real deep sciencey pasta like string theory.
Most people call it autopilot, but there's danger there. If you have a break in your routine, your ability to remember and account for the break is only as good as your ability to stop your brain going into routine mode. Ugh. Whoa.
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 You okay, Dylan?
I'm okay. I'm okay. A little bit. My ability to remember my phone being on the counter is only as reliable as my ability to stop my brain entering morning routine mode, which would dictate that my phone is actually in my bag. But I didn't stop my brain entering routine mode. I got in the shower as normal. Routine started. Exception forgotten. Autopilot engaged.
So you guys, I'm just curious, are you invested yet in this, or?
I am, for the fact of I do the same thing over and over each damn day.
I
every
want to
fucking
be,
week.
but this doesn't feel like a creepypasta. It feels like I'm reading some fucking shitty
I'm not.
science article.
I'm not invested, but I'm interested.
I'm interested too. It's like, because when you think about it, like, you go back, what have you done that's been
Hold
the
on.
same
Like, we're
thing?
already halfway through the story, and it's like, where's this going?
Hold on, though. The hard-hitting questions.
Mm.
Better than Strangled Red.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is.
kidding, no.
Shut up.
Well, I'm not.
I'm kidding. We're not doing that.
Okay. I wasn't gonna talk about it.
All right.
Oh, we didn't... You know what I
Oh.
just remembered?
What?
We didn't do the Melinda scale for Strangled Red.
That's
We didn't
fine.
have to.
Our
Oh,
fans are going to
that's-
be really upset.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
It's not
No.
fans. Please don't say that word.
there was no.
We have fans.
No, we don't.
No,
It's an
there was
audience.
No one likes us.
The Melinda scale had no need for Strangled Red.
All right. So says the Melinda Master.
All right, there we go.
All right.
I dictated it.
Autopilot engaged. I left for work. It's sweltering.
No.
No, one more up.
You skipped
My
a
brain was
paragraph.
back in the
okay.
routine.
Yeah.
I showered. I shaved.
John was
I
on
did-
autopilot.
God damn it! My brain was back in the routine. I showered. I shaved. The radio forecasted amazing weather. I gave Emily her breakfast and loaded her into the car. She was so adorable that morning. She complained about the bad sun in the morning blinding her, saying it stopped her from having a little sleep on the way to the nursery. And left. That was the routine. It didn't matter that my phone was on the counter, charging silently. My brain was in the routine, and in the routine my phone was in my bag. This is why I forgot my phone. Not clumsiness, not negligence, nothing more, my brain entering routine mode and overriding the exception. Autopilot engaged.
I left for work. It's a sweltering hot day already. The bad sun had been burning since before my traitorously absent phone woke me. The steering wheel was burning hot to the touch when I sat down. I think I heard Emily shift behind my driver's seat to get out of the glare. But I got to work, submitted the report, attended the morning meeting. It's not until I took a quick coffee break and reached for my phone, the illusion shattered. I did a mental re-step. I remembered the dying battery. I remember putting it on the charge. I remember leaving it there. My phone was on the counter. Autopilot disengaged.
This motherfucker gets through his whole morning before he reaches for his phone. That's craziness.
That's crazy.
This motherfucker.
This motherfucker never once played Flappy
This
Bird or fucking...
motherfucker. Where's his clicker? What's that doing? You know? He gets in a
a
car.
world where your phone is everything.
He didn't even check the time. This is an
That's true.
old world gentleman we're dealing with here. Because he... Come on. Not only does he drop his arm and there's come on, you grab your phone for a second.
I don't know. I mean, I'm believing in the story, and you just the thought didn't even cross my mind. I guess I really am on autopilot.
This dude got to work. He walked into work and sat down and never even looked at his phone. He must love what he does.
And he's really bored.
Maybe he's on
according to him.
autopilot.
He's on autopilot.
He submitted a report. He attended a meeting. Never once in the meeting did he kind of stealth check the time like this motherfucker.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You would do that. Like I feel like checking your phone is part of like the autopilot routine.
I'm being incredibly pedantic, but that just
no,
jumped out at me.
I agree to an extent, but you're being an ass about it.
I know. Okay.
All right.
Autopilot disengaged. Again, there lies the danger. Until you have that moment, the moment you reach for your phone and shatter the illusion, that part of the brain is still in routine mode. It has no reason to question the facts of the routine. That's why it's a routine. The act of repetition. It's not as if anyone could say, why didn't you remember your phone? Didn't occur to you? How could you forget? You must be negligent. This is to miss the point. My brain was telling me the routine was completed as normal, despite the fact that it wasn't. It wasn't that I forgot my phone. According to my brain, according to the routine, my phone was in my bag. Why would I think to question it? Why would I check? Why would I suddenly remember, out of nowhere, that my phone was on the counter? My brain was wired into the routine, and the routine was that my phone was in my bag. The day continued to bake. The morning haze gave way to the relentless fever heat of the afternoon. Tarmac bubbled. The direct beams of heat threatened to crack the pavement. People swapped coffees for iced smoothies. Jackets discarded, sleeves rolled up, ties loosened, brows mopped. The park slowly filled with sunbathers and barbecues. Window frames threatened to warp. The thermometer continued to swell. Thank fuck the offices were air-conditioned. This dude must be in, like, fucking Phoenix, Arizona for this shit to be going down.
It's true. Maybe
That's
is.
ridiculous. Southwest as fuck. You can go ahead, Dan.
Oh my god. But as ever, the furnace of the day gave way to cooler evening. Another day, another dollar. Still cursing myself for forgetting my phone, I drove home. The day's heat had baked the inside of my car, releasing a horrible smell from somewhere. When I arrived in the driveway, the stones crunching comfortably under my tires, my wife greeted me at the door. Where's Emily? Fuck. As if the phone wasn't bad enough, after everything I'd left Emily at the fucking nursery after all. I immediately sped back to the nursery. I got to the door and started practicing my excuses, wondering vainly if I could try my way out of a late fee. I saw a piece of paper stuck to the door. Due to vandalism overnight, please use side door today only. Overnight, what? The door was fine this morning. I froze. My knees shook. Vandals. A change in routine. My phone was on the counter. I hadn't been here this morning. My phone was on the counter. I'd driven past because I was drinking my coffee. I'd not dropped Emily off. My phone was on the counter. She moved her seat. I hadn't seen her in the mirror. My phone was on the counter. She'd fallen asleep out of the bad sun. She didn't speak when I drove past the nursery. My phone was on the counter. She changed the routine. My phone was on the counter. She changed the routine. I'd forgotten to drop her off. My phone was on the counter. 9 hours. That car. That baking sun. No air. No water. No power. No help. That heat. A steering wheel hot to the touch. That smell. I walked to the car door. Numb. Shock. I opened the door. My phone was on the counter, and my daughter was dead. Autopilot disengaged.
And he sticks the landing.
Shit.
You didn't.
was all
I
right.
almost chuckled a little bit because I read that paragraph where he was talking about her and then immediately went into the meeting and he went off about the phone and I'm smiling, going, "They didn't even realize the
dick.
daughter."
Now I
realize
did read that she shifted to get out of the sun, but I kind of just, I'm so used to reading stories where they fuck up like stupid shit. You know what I mean? I'm so used to there not being a concise, clear narrative that I immediately wrote it off as, well, this is a shitty creepypasta.
This is one of those,
You know what I mean? Like I legitimately.
This is one of those R.L. Stein books that wasn't a Goosebumps. It was like the teen ones that had violence in them. No,
Like,
I mean I like this one.
that's so funny because I saw it and I chalked it up to just being like.
To
bad
be
writing.
fair, when
That's good.
you didn't see this. When you were reading the 9 hours that car that baking sun, I saw Dylan finally Dylan realized
I was
it.
like,
he looked up
As
like
soon as-
he was like, "Oh no!"
as soon as he said the smell, I knew what was coming.
I didn't.
Yeah,
think,
I
like,
heard
I didn't
smell.
think anything of it. Then I was like,
but
Holy
But you don't
it's-
think
shit.
that none of you thought about the smell
Right.
though. Like you read through it.
Right.
But
Well, I mean,
we were on autopilot.
exactly.
But I think that's the cleverness of the story because at first it's like it's so fucking wordy.
It's so
and it
focused
keeps
on the phone.
and it keeps repeating itself. The phone routine, autopilot routine, the phone. I left
right,
it
I wouldn't-
over and over and over again, and I think that's why the story works because this is not shitty like Pokemon Strangled Red. This is like all the times that it's repeated. That's a choice. That's a conscious choice.
it's a necessary evil.
Right, but it's a conscious choice because it gets you specifically focusing on what the narrator's focusing on, and it's the more I think about it, the more brilliant it is. The way the story's structured.
Yep.
Because I'm like, oh, it's fucking boring. Keeps repeating, blah 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 blah. But then it
all makes
puts
sense.
you in that mindset, and you completely forget about everything else.
Yeah.
And it's fucked up. My only gripe with this story is like, even if she fell asleep in the car, there's no, like, when she woke up, there's no one else in the parking lot at any point in those 9 hours that would have seen her
Perhaps.
banging on the glass or anything.
Yeah,
she died in her sleep.
No. No one
no.
fucking overheats to death in their sleep.
Right.
Hold on.
That doesn't happen.
The nursery though. That's
Nursery
a young
what?
child.
What about the nursery?
Well, we don't know how old this child is.
She's in nursery,
Nursery
school.
school
She's
is
gotta
just
be like
young.
4 or 5.
But not only that.
Okay.
Nursery school.
Was
is
he not by a beach?
3 to 5.
Yeah, a 3-year-old's not gonna be banging on the door. He'll be strapped in a car seat.
Where was the office? Where were the offices, by the way?
I don't know. You gotta scroll back.
Because
They
he's
didn't- no,
talking
they-
about sunbathers and barbecues.
That was
No,
the
they
parks.
didn't.
He was saying parks.
The park.
So out of everybody, no one noticed the fucking kid was
Well,
in
I
there.
He
think
was
that's
just
what he
doing
was.
broad
He was
strokes,
broad.
like
the
Maybe he
city.
went out to like again. This
No,
is the
but
great thing about the story, though. He didn't over-explain it. He didn't like say, "I went out to the store. I went out to lunch to like the local
But that's-
Starbucks
that's-
and
but
saw
that's
all
the
the
thing.
local bathers
But
and
that's
stuff."
the thing. That's my only gripe with this. It's like nobody at any point during the day would have seen this child like baking in the sun.
Also,
Maybe.
the smell of a corpse that's been
Right.
overheated would
Right.
be not just like
Really
a, oh,
fucking
what's
awful.
that smell? It
Right.
would be like, now I'm
It
vomiting.
would be very distinct.
This isn't, and plus, this isn't a creepypasta per se. It's more of a cautionary tale of what not.
No, it's not.
No,
It's not a
no.
fuck you.
I
It's
can
not a
see.
caution.
I can see where he's
This
coming
isn't
from.
no
No,
Aesop's fable, motherfucker.
Every time.
Every time with this kid.
Before you are quick to judge,
I am.
like you are always.
This is what makes the podcast good.
Okay.
Fight,
Pretty
fight,
much.
fight.
So you tell me after reading the story, say you read this, are you really gonna make sure you have everything in check?
No.
No, I don't.
No.
I don't
If you're a
take
parent
this as a
listening to
cautionary
this,
tale.
if you're a parent listening to this, you're gonna make sure the fucking next day you have everything in check.
If you're a parent, you're already freaking out about your kid, unless you're a shitty
Yeah.
parent, in which case reading a
Which
fucking
case this
2-second
fucking guy
creepypasta
was.
is not going to change your
Because
mind.
this guy
in any
was
Oh
way.
my
lying.
god, I've been
About
doing
the
this wrong my
smell.
whole life. No one's gonna read this creepypasta and be like, shit, I've been doing this wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dale,
No one's
Dale,
gonna
I
be like,
usually give you the
"Oh,
benefit of the
God."
doubt, but I'm gonna have to disagree. with you.
Given the
This is
usual
not a
age
cautionary
groups
tale.
that read creepypasta,
It's going to be like the 14-year-old who's like, what's a kid?
But here's the thing: there's
Whoa.
a lot of people who are parents who forgotten the kids in the freaking car.
it's true. No, he's right.
There's a lot of people-
I'm
done
not
that.
arguing with you. I'm just saying this particular story is not.
I'm just
made
saying
with
this
a
guy
moral.
was a narcissistic asshole. I'm concerned
Okay.
more about his.
Yeah.
Dan, let me ask you a question. You were saying it's implausible that
For
nobody
nine-
would for 9 hours,
9
not.
hours, yes.
but
I'd say.
impossible. Is it impossible for
It's
them?
not impossible.
Exactly.
I mean, okay, given if this kid was like strapped into
A car seat,
as
as a 3-year-old would. be.
yes, But at the same time, I feel like she'd be making noise and screaming, or at least trying to, and nobody.
She would be. It's a stretch. It's
a
not
stretch.
an impossible
Not only
stretch.
But if that's my only gripe with the
Right.
story, that's a pass for me because I
not
like
only
the
that,
idea.
like you're saying, it was getting very broad. By the time where his wife said, "Where's Emily?" By the time he looked in the car, he turned to his car. You couldn't see a dead kid. In the
Well,
car.
he said that he didn't see.
He's on
she
autopilot.
Was, she was
I
switched.
can see
Well, no,
getting
at that
into your
point he
car
really
and not
wasn't.
looking behind you.
Right. At that point he's not, and he also said she had moved seats, so he wouldn't have seen her. When
It's
he was
more the
getting into
smell of a
car.
corpse that sticks with me as to
Right.
how you don't notice that. But that's either way, it's a very effective piece of
The
writing.
guy's like, could you imagine that guy going home? He's like,
That's what
dear.
my first thought when I
I
read this
fucked
was the trip home, or like calling the cops and then having to explain what happened.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's horrendous.
Yeah.
You're gonna be hit with
Doesn't he-
something
doesn't
for
he go
that.
to-
That's you
wouldn't he-
killed
doesn't
your
he go to
kid.
jail for that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
negligence.
Parent
you
negligence?
just
People
killed-
do
Unless-
that with
Sure.
fucking
Unless there's
dogs
some-
and they go to prison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so.
Oh yeah, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
You're never having a kid again. Well, maybe, but yeah.
gonna neuter you.
Well, I don't understand why he just didn't use missing number and just resurrect her and then strangle her.
People who like this story might not read Strangled Red.
And the tears.
They're
fell
gonna
from
watch
her
our
eyes.
podcast.
They're gonna read it now.
no,
that you
they're not.
mentioned it.
No.
I mean,
Don't.
and yeah, the thing that annoyed me at the beginning was it was very intent on telling you things that were very obvious.
No, but that's the narrator.
But that's the-
I'm
the
not
narrator.
fine.
I think here's what happened.
That's
for
what
me.
I'm saying. It's intentional.
I think this story already had happened, and he's trying to like almost defend himself, like say like
Or
you know,
rationalize it,
like
yeah.
rationalize what happened. Because even in the beginning, he says like, you know, I'm trying to remember. It's like as I later researched, like he researched this. Like he's maybe it's like for his own defense.
Yeah.
Maybe he did get arrested for it.
I agree with you 100%. I was gonna say immediately after,
Before
but
you rudely coming
before
off.
I was very rudely cut off by everyone in the room, I was gonna say
Sorry.
that I did find the beginning was a little tedious because it's very much like, hey, you guys, you know your
But
brain,
that's the
your
point.
brain
That's the
like,
point.
That's
well, the whole like your
it
brain
had-
works on multiple levels, dude, is kind of like a little eye rolly, like no
Dude,
fucking
well,
shit.
yeah, me
There
too,
was a little
but-
bit of like stating the obvious, but once it gets down to the repetitive, like it's a routine. This is what I do. This is my routine. My phone's charging.
And I
my
hated
phone.
that until the end.
That
yeah.
was annoying, but that part of it fit the narrative and
And it's
was
a payoff.
and
There's a
made it
payoff to it.
incredibly effective. Yeah.
And
I don't think this is a thing that normal people would do, but I definitely could see a person be like this. Like they have a specific routine that they do
There are
not
people that neglect their
change.
children because they're too busy playing video games.
Yeah, I mean
So,
this is
I think this is not, you know, again, it's about implausible versus impossible. This is implausible
I did
at
like
best.
the story though. And again, the shorter ones are always the better ones.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see like a competently written piece of
Vignette,
work,
yeah,
which
yeah.
we really very rarely see on
Well,
this
for you it's been a while.
podcast.
For us it hasn't been too long.
For me,
so.
then, I haven't seen one in a good,
this had a
good
nice
while.
misdirection kind of because I thought I was like, oh, this is gonna be like string theory, how it's gonna go with going on autopilot, doing this, not realizing, and then it just
And then you see
Bam!
him.
then bam, it just hits you with girl's dad and like, whoa.
And Dylan coming to this shocking realization.
I will never do face cam on this podcast, but I wanted
Never
to,
say never, John. We're gonna
I
sell
wanted
it
face
eventually.
cam just for that
Never
one moment
stop, never
of Dylan's
stopping.
face. Dylan's face when he realized Emily was dead, he was just like, oh.
I was gonna stop and pass it off, but I feel like
You kept
I was
going.
on a roll.
No,
I didn't want to stop
don't
because I
pass
feel like
that
it would have
off.
broken.
I
Yeah.
actually could see Dan getting more and more
attention.
into it as he kept reading. Like he was, it's going somewhere.
We
It's
all
going.
knew it was gonna happen, but like I didn't want to break the tension. I feel like that would have totally destroyed the mood.
Yeah, no, you just finished
And
that.
Dylan was too busy in shock, so
I saw, I was like, and I look up and John's like, yeah.
yes, the little girl's dead.
I was like, oh,
But
ballsack.
this is good. For
It's
those,
nice
those
because
reasons.
I appreciate a creepypasta that doesn't delve into the unearthly in order to be scary.
right.
It's nice to
Again,
have a
it's in the-
non-supernatural, non-psychological horror. Let's just have shit go south in a creepy way.
In a way, it's a little bit cerebral, like psychological.
I would say cerebral, but I don't
Not
know.
psychological. You know,
It's
you're
not.
right.
I mean, I don't know.
This is a story with very, very clear, specific choices. and because of that, that's why it's good. We read so many stories, I've read so many stories where there's just bullshit. There's just filler bullshit in them.
Yep.
Strangled Red is a perfect example of that, with the meta commentary and all that nonsense. You know, shitting Jeff the Killer.
Because you don't have to be a good writer to write a creepypasta, and we've seen that very clearly and agonizingly illustrated through some of the choices we've been forced to read.
But yeah, this is very short and simple, and all of the writing, every sentence, every line is completely intentional, creating a certain mood in this, and to equate it to the payoff at the end. I think it does it really well. Yeah, I enjoy the story for how simplistic,
sorry about that,
but expertly executed it was.
Yeah.
It's great.
I missed all that.
It reminds me of something like Barbie.avi in how good it was, for sure.
But this one had a definitive end.
There's a very human root to the whole thing that goes throughout that is often missing from these kinds of stories.
I wanted to ask specifically this. I guess we can call him the narrator.
Okay.
What do we think of him overall? Is this his actions? Are they normal?
No, they're highly irregular.
There's no explanation. There's no place for him on the
this is a guy who clearly has like a cubicle job.
It's hard to gauge because we're not given.
Is your life that station? Is it your life that stationary where you're doing the same damn thing over and over again?
Right.
And one thing.
Because on one hand, William was complaining about his phone usage, like he's an old man. But on the other hand, he has a kid that's like 3. So
you could be an old ass man.
I don't think there's enough information given about the narrator himself as a person to really judge him.
I mean, if you think about him too much, he seems like you almost lose that human feeling because his actions are so weirdly exaggerated in a way.
Oh yeah.
I'd say. I mean, obviously, the author wanted to play up the concept of autopilot.
Right.
Autopilot doesn't function as strongly as it does in this story.
Well, for you, maybe for someone else.
I thought of it.
No. It's not that. Your brain doesn't work that if you forget your phone, then you'll forget a different part of your routine. On a scientific level, that didn't make much sense. If you really want to drill into it, the idea of him dropping off his daughter should not be affected by him leaving his phone.
Here's why. He realized he didn't have his phone, and that's why he forgot the kid. Is that possible?
No, because he forgot the kid before he remembered he forgot his phone.
You're absolutely right. It doesn't make sense in
so
context.
that does not follow. If you really want to burn into it...
No, he's right. You're right, because...
The author kind of breaks their own rules there.
Right.
Well, they don't... Okay, so he...
No, but he's right, because the implication is that he forgets the kid because he forgot his phone. He's thinking about that. But he doesn't realize that until well into his workday. So that doesn't make any sense. Now, you could use the argument that it's because she changed the routine. Because she sat in a different seat and she fell asleep, which is fine. I'll give it that because he does say that.
All right,
he does say that in the story.
Well, that's better. It's still an insane. There still should be a moment in his routine where he goes, "Time to drop off my child."
Right. That's part of the routine.
Right.
So yeah.
Then he turns around and she's gone. She's not gone first, and then that's what makes he doesn't look at her to say it's time for me to drop her off.
Because he also makes mention of that is part that. You don't think about your commute, but if you're dropping off your daughter every day,
the realization
go through
that your daughter is with you comes before you think to drop her off.
Well, not even that. Right. Like he says, I left for work. It's sweltering hot, and Emily shifted herself. He knows that she's there. He knows she's there. But here's the thing: he thinks he dropped her off at the place already.
He went off thinking he assumed the autopilot told him he had dropped her off, and he kept.
But if I'm arguing that's not how autopilot works.
No, you're right. If he expresses so much that you're on autopilot for a commute, you don't remember most of it. But to me, if he's dropping off his daughter every day, that's part of his routine.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
Either dropping off his daughter is part of the routine and he has to do it implicitly. Or it's not part of the routine.
And he should remember, and it breaks the logic of the story.
Exactly. Right. And neither of those things come to pass.
Right.
Or he's trying to
oh no, guys, we thought too much.
Yeah.
Well, or it could be also saying the phone is something. If the phone is something small, you forget. You can forget something so small, you can end up forgetting something much bigger.
I don't think forgetting another living human being
in
your car.
He's saying it's not. But you don't forget. It could be a possibility that could happen as well.
So you're just saying he's like an incredibly like shitty guy who just forgets his child.
We're just-
Like,
I mean, I think
if
I
he
can
forget
accept
something
that,
so
yeah.
small, and now he forgets his daughter.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I think this guy.
yes.
I think this guy
But then it's
establishes
not
himself as
Autopilot's
a.
fault.
No, okay. It establishes this guy as kind of an asshole at the beginning. You kind of can see like the way he's describing himself and how he's trying to defend himself. Almost he
This
has
is
a
like
very defensive tone.
this is like a letter
Like
to
this is a normal
the
thing.
jury.
Like he's
Hold on,
rationalizing.
hold on.
He's rationalizing something. Like he's saying this is a very normal thing. I did some research on it, and your brain doesn't work this way. And that's why he puts you in this mindset
Right.
of just
It sounds like
That's
more an
dull.
excuse. It sounds like more of an excuse that
That's
he's,
absolutely
he's
what it
writing
is.
for like because he's on trial and he's trying to get the jurors on his side.
Yeah,
We're
but I
just
mean,
saying, we're just in terms of actual. But we're right. No, it's you're right. It breaks the logic because it doesn't. There are certain rules that have to be, established, which he does, and then he breaks those rules at the end. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you want to give him like maximum credit in terms of like the author himself, you could say the protagonist is trying to come up with a defense of himself. He falls upon Autopilot, and he decides this is what he can use as a defense, even
Right.
though upon further study we both realize it falls through.
right.
And it
I
holds no
disagree.
water
No,
as an
it's not
argument.
gonna. It doesn't fall through this story to me.
No, but I don't
Do you
know.
think that whole story would hold up in court?
It's not about
It's
court.
not about
It's
in
not-
court.
it's
It's
Wait,
just
wait,
a
wait,
story.
wait,
It's
wait.
not
Let's
about
not even bring
It's not
court.
about court.
Well,
It's
it
what-
sounds more like a freaking
No,
Let's
forget that.
No.
Throw that out the
Let's
court.
not
No, that's
tie
not what happened.
external stuff to
All right.
it.
Throw that out the
upon,
window.
That's
We're talking about it within the logic and the context of the
just
story.
in terms of
And
explaining,
I agree
using
with Will.
this to explain through Autopilot. What part of what we've said makes no sense to you, John?
No, well, first of all, I haven't been here for like half of your conversation, so it's been kind of difficult for me to really
No,
say
it's
much.
just you-
No,
you see
my
what I'm
my
saying,
my
just-
thing is that I think that the story is plausible. I think that
No,
it's very
it
if
is.
that it's
It
a
is.
guy who I think you're like he's focused so much on the phone that we get into the same mindset that he gets in, and we too forget about the daughter. We didn't realize it.
No,
right
and
away.
That's
fine.
good, and it's well written in
And
that
that's
regard.
fine. But what we're saying is he doesn't have that distraction until after what would be normally his morning routine
He-
of dropping his daughter off. He happens. So no. Don't fucking roll your eyes.
I didn't roll my eyes.
For
God's
You did.
sake! No, I didn't.
It
You did.
breaks the logic of the story. He doesn't focus on his phone until after he should have dropped his daughter
John, he
off.
says the phone is the reason he forgets his daughter, right? It breaks the routine,
Okay.
right?
But he
So
doesn't
no.
realize he
Ready?
forgot.
So he drops his daughter. He thinks he drops his daughter off, and then he remembers he left his phone while he's at work, right?
Right.
So he remembered the phone after he should have dropped his daughter off.
Right.
So his routine didn't break until he was in his
Okay,
meeting.
something else then broke the routine. I don't think he's there's no
But
point. There is no explicit point. No, let me. There's no explicit point where he says that I forgot my phone, therefore I forgot to drop my daughter off at the nursery school.
Yes,
that
it was.
never
he
happened.
said it changed the routine.
I
At the very end, he's yelling about it.
she changed the routine when she moved. That applies. She wouldn't.
No.
She didn't make him
Okay.
forget his phone.
We did have
She
this
changed
discussion.
the
That's
All
not
right,
what
fair
we're
enough.
arguing.
However,
Okay,
we did
by
have
the way,
that.
I didn't. I wasn't. From my perspective so far, everyone was agreeing that the story was pretty good.
We were.
I got up to leave. I was gone for about 2 minutes, and now all of a sudden the logic of the story is gone.
Well, you should
for
go
these
back.
two
You
at
should go
least.
back and listen to it.
Listen.
I can't. But
Stop,
I'm live
stop,
now.
Stop,
All right, hang
stop,
on.
Stop. What the argument that we're trying to make is that, and I understand what you're saying,
It's a well-written story.
but it's either he talks about how part of the routine of commuting is part of the routine. So when we're arguing, and this maybe he doesn't drop his daughter off every day, okay, but we can't. It's yes or no.
It's not in
We're
this,
only.
you
It's
know.
only the information that we're given. So if we assume that he does drop his daughter off every day, that would be part of the routine, and he would remember to drop her off regardless of where she.
That's
sits
part
or
of his
not.
autopilot, right?
That's what we're saying.
Is it?
that's what we're
Don't
saying.
try.
Okay.
We're trying to explain
That's
it
what
to you.
we're
Here's
John.
what I'm
Work
trying to
with
explain.
us.
Here's what I'm trying to explain.
But again, you're,
There's no-
and I
he
understand.
says
Talk
he
one at a time.
changed
Just
the
let John
routine.
talk.
One
Let
at
John.
a time, people.
One at a time.
My argument is that at no point did he say the phone caused me to forget my daughter. He said that she changed the routine. When this is I'm gonna talk. When she changed the routine, that means her moving over behind him. I imagine that as he goes by the nursery school, he looks behind him to where his daughter usually sits. She's not there, and now the daughter is dropped off. Autopilot engage. You're going off to work.
Okay.
That's how we forgot.
We did discuss that part as well. And what we said was you can have one of two scenarios here. Either he always drops the daughter off and it's part of autopilot, right?
Okay.
That makes sense. But that means for him, he's in autopilot this entire story, right? That's the entire idea. If he had to drop her off, he would have stopped intrinsically right away to drop her off.
Not true.
Why?
He looks behind her. He looks behind. He's in autopilot. He looks behind, and she's gone.
No,
Wait,
because he drops her off as part of his routine.
Okay.
Part of his routine is he stops the car.
Just stops the car to drop her off.
Looks behind. Kid's not there in the car anymore.
But it doesn't say that he stopped her.
That then all of a sudden he says, now that's changed the routine though, right? Now all of a sudden he's thinking, where is she? My routine's changed.
Right. So
now
maybe she's gone.
No. Now autopilot's disengaged, right? But he stays engaged, so that can't be true.
What are you talking? It didn't get disengaged.
Autopilot.
No. What Will's trying to say is
she changed the routine doesn't mean he gets out of autopilot.
So what you're saying is if she changed the routine, the rest of the story indicates that once the routine is changed, autopilot is disengaged.
Not true. Autopilot didn't get disengaged when he forgot his phone. It just...
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
The
autopilot kept going even after.
He's right. John's right. When
he just kept going as if he had the phone.
Remembers that his phone is on.
So just because she moved over, he doesn't realize she changed the routine until the end, when it's already too late. He doesn't realize that she changed the routine until the end. Well, if he did, then he would have dropped the daughter off.
All right, I'm going to agree with John on this one. Proving once again that science is a bitch. No, John's right because there's that parallel because he doesn't forget the routine doesn't break until he remembers that he forgot his phone.
Yes.
So again, the routine wouldn't break until he remembers.
His routine did not break until he looked for his phone.
A fucking math equation. We're gonna write it on the wall.
He started. He drove Emily. His routine did not change until he realized he forgot his phone.
Because she changed, right?
And he didn't realize that she changed the routine until he read the Vandal sign.
He's right.
So that's what it is. I think the story makes perfect sense because it's not when he says that she changed the routine. She didn't make him forget his phone. It was this stupid alarm or this charging thingy.
We're not even talking about the phone at this point now. It's just because she changed the routine, like he changed the routine with the phone. He didn't see her, so he just shuts it off.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
That's my argument.
And I agree with that. Because it's in the story later, the phone reinforces that idea.
What do you think, Dylan?
Dylan's on Twitter right now. He's fucking gone.
Dylan's out.
No, you guys talk what you gotta talk about.
Dylan checked out.
I remember this podcast. Fucking.
Dylan checked out.
No, I checked out as soon as you guys started arguing. I was like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
No, do you think it? Okay, no. We want your opinion. Forget what we said. We want your opinion. Clearly, William has some thoughts, but he has
the story's great, but we're gonna just shit all over it.
Okay, look, William has some thoughts. He's gonna probably talk about it in a second.
He's looking through the story again.
All right.
I mean, it. In the beginning, I was thinking, okay, it's gonna be like string theory, where it's gonna talk about all this meta stuff about how you have the imps and stuff with the strings, and then it took like that whole 180 turn where it kept going about this autopilot disengage, yada yada yada, and then boom, daughter's dead. I mean, it was very. I liked the writing. I liked how it played out itself, but there's a lot of stuff that the writer missed.
Oh, there's some. Well, it's a short story. You can't establish everything. It's impossible to establish everything.
I understand it's a short story, but there was a lot that.
That's the downfall of a short story. They can't explain everything. You're going to have your questions that aren't going to be answered. And that's part of Creepypasta is that sometimes you don't have the definitive ending. Even string theory didn't have a definitive ending.
No, it's not just
Will
the ending.
is just looking real hard right now.
No, I mean I have some. I'm
not just the ending. I'm talking more about like what you guys would talk about. The whole middle was there's a lot of gaps that need to be filled.
Right.
That it doesn't make sense.
The structure and the logic.
And that's why you guys bantering back and forth about who's right, who's wrong about what this guy was doing. So the guy he has to add more to it. I mean, it was.
I think that would ruin it, though. I think it's fine the way it is.
You say that, but
You don't need to
We're sitting there
over-explain.
screaming at each other.
What do you want him to do?
it's apples versus
Okay,
oranges.
what would you add then? What would you add?
I'd add more details of the
About
whole,
what?
about the whole ride.
But
Because
that,
also because it's like, okay, I disengage. That you're talking about something.
but
like,
the problem, Dylan, the problem is with that is that then it breaks the whole logic of the story.
This
Because
author...
if he starts observing things that are
Yeah, but
happening,
what about
it
Autopilot
turns
is
off the
this supposed to-
autopilot.
Okay, look, Dan, you said this earlier when we just started the analysis section. Like, this author put you in a mindset, and it was done beautifully because
And
they
it
put you
keeps
in this
that
repetitive.
mindset that the narrator's
It puts you in this
right.
repetitive mindset that you almost forget about the daughter, and
Right.
you did for a bit,
Right.
just for a little bit because it's a
And
short
the
story.
whole point of the story is that you don't observe anything. So
Um,
adding those extra details breaks the logic.
All right,
of
William
the
wants to
story.
say something. What are you saying, Will?
I'm still not happy with the autopilot.
The
Yeah,
autopilot
but that's
argument-
The autopilot.
Okay, let me say something real quick. John said that he never disengaged autopilot until the end, right?
Nope.
until
He
the,
disengaged
until the
autopilot when he
phone.
found his phone.
Yeah.
Until the
When he
phone.
found that his phone was not there.
Right.
That's when the routine broke.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. So, and we were saying that, like, because his daughter was, like, she wasn't there, so it was not, it was part of,
She broke the routine as well.
she broke the routine by not being there.
Right.
However, at the beginning, he has it as autopilot engaged. Part of his autopilot is loading her in his car.
Yeah.
So once he sees she isn't there, doesn't that have to break your autopilot? Because as
Nope,
part
he's
of your
not-
autopilot,
he's
you
not
know
paying-
she's
he's not
there.
paying
Attention.
attention.
He
He's
stops
not
the
paying
car.
attention.
He sees that she's back,
Because
back
the
there
whole
and
point,
thinks
the whole
she's direct
right,
off.
the whole point is that once you're on autopilot, you stop observe. The whole point, the whole concept is that you start observing things, and you stop. You don't. It's like he said. It's like walking or like showering every day or whatever.
You're not
think
thinking
about
about
it,
how
just
you made
do
your
it.
left foot move
Right.
to your right foot. Also, William, the other thing
Right.
is
You don't think
just
about it,
because
just
this
doing
may
it.
not apply to me, maybe this mindset doesn't apply to me. Maybe it doesn't apply to Dan, and maybe it doesn't apply to you. But it might apply
totally
to
applies to
somebody.
me.
It totally applies to you.
I fucking
Okay, it
shut off
applies
when I
to
go
Dan.
work.
And maybe it applies to Dylan. I don't know. But the thing is, it doesn't have to apply to you.
All right, well,
but it can exist in other people.
We've talked about it ad nauseum, so I'm not going to keep just repeating it. I'm not happy with this as
Will
an answer.
Just not agree.
I don't
you
know
said
if it's...
stick the landing, and it went for
Well, no. I think
but all
from
right.
from a narrative perspective, this author has written a
Logistically, yeah.
very good short story.
Yeah.
He absolutely, or she absolutely, did stick the landing.
It's
I
she.
think-
The author's name is Skarjo. as in
Skarjo?
Scarlett
Of course,
Johansson.
the Black Widow herself. How
The
could I
Black
forget?
Widow, Lucy.
So-
Lucy herself.
So, all right. So
If what you
she-
say, well, she might come for
She
you.
absolutely stuck the landing. It's a greatly written story, just in the minutia, in the detail.
The tiny
Upon
logic,
staring at it, I'm not happy with it on a scientific level. That's all.
And I am.
That's fine.
But
I'm
also,
Well, I'm
Can you-
glad you weren't there for that fucking
Can you
the
take
convenience
this-
store when we read them. Because holy
Can
shit!
you take the
We didn't like that
can
one
you
either.
take the whole
Oh.
autopilot thing and put it into another situation?
No.
Also, that's the thing.
Okay,
That's the
fine.
thing.
All right, let's
Okay.
go. Let's move on. Okay, we've been talking for a while. Okay, so
And you were worried this was gonna run short.
Yeah, I just don't want to
we
keep
were done at the
repeating same
16-minute
things.
mark. We're now approaching 44 minutes.
Good.
That's fine.
Good.
All right, well, let's do the quick thing. All right, Dylan, time for Melinda scale.
There's
This
no
narrator.
No, there's no Melinda.
No,
Yes, there
this,
is.
There
this
is.
will
This
work.
dude's a
This
fucking
works.
He's a
retard.
piece of shit.
He's a Melinda ass
Yo,
motherfucker.
whoa.
All right, William.
Whoa.
You
Yes.
haven't been here. William,
Yes.
you haven't been here, but in order to decrease Melinda's scale, only Dylan does it. So this is Dylan's thing.
It's Dylan's thing. Now.
Just I
I
think
invited
me,
everybody to use
you,
Alright.
you,
I
me, and Dan have
apologize.
talked at nausea.
To
Dylan,
everyone,
this is yours.
I apologize for jumping in.
William, for God's sake.
I'm apologizing.
Don't apologize.
Well,
there
that's
is
rude.
no room on the Melinda scale for this piece of shit.
Why?
Wow.
Because
Why?
this piece of shit left his daughter in the car.
Well,
Here,
that would be
here.
a very Melinda thing to do. Wouldn't you
No,
agree?
because he gets his own
Is
list.
he the
That's
kind-
stupid.
I'm gonna look at you right in the eyes, Dylan. Is he the kind of person that would run into a knife?
More than likely, yes.
So then he's Melinda.
I don't know.
Is he the kind of person
I
that
don't
would
know.
look at his car and go, "There's
Listen.
somebody outside"?
Listen, this person has a job. I can't imagine. Melinda doesn't have a job, clearly, because no one would hire that.
No,
piece
she
of-
did. That was the whole point.
This
of
guy
the
makes
story.
no,
Melinda
did
look. This guy makes Melinda
No.
look smarter.
Did she?
Sean,
I forgot the
do
story
you not
already.
remember the fucking?
That was the
Wonderful
only one.
Pumpkins?
That's the only one we did that I didn't read previously.
Shut up.
I don't remember it.
Melinda. I don't know why I remember this. Melinda. The whole point of her Do you remember how we talked? Jesus Christ.
Forget. No.
But, okay, no.
No, it's not.
In
I don't wanna-
short, she had to get to her job that morning.
Yeah,
That's why she was trying to figure it out.
Fine, Dylan. Fine. All right, you low.
Jesus Christ.
Bring it low. It's okay. Low on the one
yeah.
scale. All right, fair enough. Well, this has been a very entertaining and energetic episode. I think overall, I think this story is really good. I like the story. I think William also likes the story.
As a story, it's good.
Yeah, it's a good.
Scientifically, I'm not thrilled with it.
Okay. And Dan,
Mr.
I
Science
think
Man.
I might have converted Dan. I don't know if I converted Dan to my side.
I'm definitely converted to John. John, I'm converted to you.
High five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan just fucked
Just
off,
let it
I
go.
guess.
Just let it go. It's fine.
So this has been the Scary Friends podcast. Yeah, that really. Oh my god.
That was weird. I don't know.
Dylan
why
just
he-
walked.
Dylan left the room and threw off our whole thing. We're
I don't know,
perplexed at the
we're a
moment.
little-
So this has been the Scary Friends podcast. Signing off with Dan
Good night, everyone.
and William,
Bye.
and not that fucker Dylan. So stay awesome, and always remember to scare your friend.